You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again today. Man, we have another show lined for y'all. We're going to talk to Chef Andy Murray, the brother of Bill Murray, and the author of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. So, first and foremost, man, you have an amazing book. You're no stranger to cooking food. You're no stranger to just being a chef. What can people expect from this amazing book, man?
What they're going to find is a combination of recipes and stories. You'll find stories of family stories of sitting around the dinner table, of guests, friends who've showed up, people and that I've cooked for in different restaurants, Frank Sinatra, Jackie Onassis, Princess Margaret. I worked at a restaurant called Mortimer, New York City, and I ended up cooking for a lot of interesting people.
And your first job, you were a busboy at a corner restaurant. And what was that experience like, just getting your first starting point in the food industry?
Well, I was caddies. All brothers were caddies. And a friend of mine had this job as a busboy at the corner diner. And he had to go on vacation. He said, "Can you cover for me? Because if I don't get somebody to cover for me, they're going to fire me." And so I did it. And when I walked in, and the first thing, this was 6:30 in the morning, I go, "What would you like to eat now?" To feed 30 in the morning. This is great. I think I fell in love with the restaurant business that day, but it made me learn that you had to put in the time. You had to work and to learn this stuff. I worked with some cooks who taught me really the basics and taught me to work fast and hard and be real proud of what I was serving.
Once again, we're talking to our guest today, Andy Murray, the chef Andy Murray, and about his book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry, a feast of family fun and favorites by Chef Andy Murray. You also talk about the family table. You talk about pranks and stuff like that in your book. Can you share with the audience a teaser, some of the things that goes on?
The dinner table at our house was, there's 6 boys, 3 girls, 9 kids, Ed, Brian, Nancy, Peggy, Billy, Laura, Andy, John, Joel. And we had to be at the dinner table from Sunday to Thursday every night. When, my dad came home, we were sitting down, we were having dinner. And nobody touched their food until Mom sat down, and then Dad served all the plates. But we learned to love each other. We learned to get thick skin. We learned to be able to take criticism and give criticism. But, and then you did do pranks. There was one time Billy and I were house sitting my sister Laura's home, and she and her husband Bob had gone out of town, and Billy looked at me and goes, we ought to change all the furniture, move it around. And I'm like, oh, that's a bad idea. But we had gone out and had some wine and some Calvados, and we came back and we started moving, and we moved, like the back room went to the dining room, and the dining room went to the back room, and the kitchen went to the living room, and the living room went over to this library room off the kitchen. It was it was a wonderful prank. My sister and brother-in-law were not real happy though.
And man, we touched on you and with your first job, but you quickly got into cooking, and you went to New York for culinary training at the New York restaurant school, and you kind of moved up fast. I mean, what was the process like? Did you have mentors along the way, or were you just kind of going?
I had gone out there to go to the Culinary Institute, and Billy was on Saturday Night Live at the time, and I met this couple, the Perjots, Kitty and Eric Perjot, and they were French, and they were doing the catering for Saturday Night Live. And they said they also had a 2-star restaurant out on Shelter Island, which is out by the Hamptons. And they said, "Oh, Andy, you don't have to do that. You come work for me." and I will teach you everything. So I became kind of an indentured servant, but I lived in the basement. I got up in the morning. I went to the farm stands to buy the produce. I went to the fish. I met the boats at the docks and picked the fish out. Yeah, I learned a lot that year. You learn, the more people you work with, the more you learn. You just kind of see what they're doing and take a little piece of that and make it your own.
You've been known to be working in some of the biggest restaurants in the business, and you also were part of the Murray Bros Caddy Shack restaurants in St. Augustine, Florida, and Rosemont, Illinois. What was it like to see the progress and the success come? What was it like to look back and see how far you came?
Well, in the beginning, when I was bussing tables, washing dishes, cooking, I was like, I think I can do this my way. I'd like to do it my way. And I had another boss at another restaurant say, when you own your own successful restaurant, you can do what you want. And so when I opened up the Caddy Shack restaurant in St. Augustine, I cried. I was so happy. It was to think about all the work and all the places I'd worked at and thought about what I wanted to do, and this thing happened for me. And now we've opened the second one in Rosemont, next to O'Hare Airport. So it feels really good.
Once again, talking to Chef Andy Murray and about his amazing book, Eat, Drink, and Be Murray, a feast of family fun and favorites by Chef Andy Murray. It already came out, man. It's been 3 days so far, but man, what do you hope that the readers can take away from this book when they check out your recipes?
Cooking is not that hard. That all you got to do, if you do all the preparation work and get everything set up, you can make pretty much anything you want. Cooking is not hard. I go to parties and people are cooking dinner and they see me walk in the door and the wife or whoever's cooking go, "Oh, could you help me?" And you just got to plan it out and you'll be fine. It's not hard. The holiday season's coming up, work on a couple dishes, work on a couple spreads, something you can bring and give to the people when they come in. They'll be happy.
Once again, I want to say thanks to Chef Andy Murray being on the show today talking about his book, Eat, Drink, and Be Murray, a feast of family fun and favorites by Chef Andy Murray. You can get this anywhere you can get a book. I want to say thank you for taking time in your schedule, man, talking to us today.
Shemaiah, thank you so much for having me, and have a great holiday season.